All right, everybody, I want to welcome you to a special edition of the AdCast. I got my buddy, my pal, the Mr. Bot himself, Mr. Baggott Bots, Ryan Baggott of Tap the Table, and also of Baggott Bots is joining us today on the AdCast. I'm excited to have him with me. We're going to talk about Facebook. We're going to talk about making your social media work for you. If you're a restaurant, we're going to talk about the solution that Ryan's created and how his solution can work for a lot of other industries. That's next on the AdCast.
I think I know the way.
You're listening to the AdCast.
Ryan, man, I'm excited to talk to you, man.
What is going on, man?
A lot, man. It's been a long time coming, man. You know, you and I, we stay in contact, and just in the intro, I told people about Tap the Table, what you do, and how you help people. But Ryan, for those people who don't know who you are, introduce yourself to our audience, man.
Cool, man. And thank you so much for having me, man. I've had my eye on hopefully being a guest on this show one day. The first time I saw a podcast out of Charleston that was dealing with digital marketing years ago at this point, I thought that was just such a cool thing. But I'm Ryan Baggott. I'm the creator of tapthetable.io, which is a application for originally Facebook Messenger and now Instagram, WhatsApp, you name it. We're on that channel. It was an app I created to solve a problem back in 2020 when we had the health crisis happen here. And I have always been in my career as a professional for the last 10 years in social or digital marketing in some way, shape, or form. But in 2020, I made the jump into no longer taking any day jobs, as they call it, and only going after the things that I wanted to do. And the first thing I wanted to do was create an app to get the restaurant industry up to speed with technology and where I felt through my experiences it just needed to be. And so we created Tap the Table, and it was going to be used in a way originally for people moving around. It wasn't going to be so digitally focused, but with all the restrictions that got put into play as 2020 went on, I realized that we had to make a pivot and really focus more on digital sides of things versus the in-person experiential. Luckily, I think that we've got a really nice combination of tools within the platform of Tap the Table to accommodate now businesses outside of the restaurant industry and almost nearly any industry that does need customers. And so it's been a fun ride, man. It's been really fun, but that's about the gist of it.
Wow, man. You know, Ryan, that's a lot, man. And the truth is, there are a lot of businesses that were actually born during the pandemic, but then, you know, you'd been doing this ahead of time. So it's not like you just got in this, because you're familiar with social and advertising and branding for over a decade. So when you got into the pandemic and you found this need, the one kind of business area that needed help more than anyone was probably the restaurants, because, you know, especially in South Carolina or in the city of Charleston, there are a lot of restaurants that are very historic. They're really tied to the community, and, you know, and they had to shut down. So you thought of a way to kind of, you know, almost kind of give them a heartbeat again. Now let's talk about Tap the Table, and then I want to go into you know, how it actually helps other areas of business besides restaurants, because it does more than that. And in full disclosure, I'll even tell people that we've even utilized your chat too, and it's
power user. Yes,
you know. So let's talk about like the restaurant. What and Tap the Table. What does Tap the Table do? So people would hear about Facebook Messenger and they're like, well, there's tons of different people out there that do Facebook or Instagram messaging. What is Tap the Table and what makes it different?
So to tell you the full story in a nutshell, that I think will really make things clear, before I decided to go out on my own in the years prior, I've worked in e-commerce and I've worked in the hospitality field. These are the two areas where I've got the most experience. I graduated USC with a hospitality degree. And what I saw with firsthand experience being the marketing director for the largest restaurant group on Hilton Head Island, we had 1,000 employees. That's where I live, is Hilton Head in South Carolina. The Surge Restaurant Group was the business. I was in charge of the digital marketing for years as a consultant, third-party consultant, and then they brought me in as a full-time employee as their marketing person. And what I saw was there were just a lot of inefficiencies as far as the technology side of things went. All of the POS systems just felt so old and archaic, and things were not fast and efficient like they needed to be. And the technology that was around in smaller markets like Hilton Head is against the larger, the technology abilities to adopt are just far less. It's harder to get things changed around here in the restaurant world in my experience. And so the biggest thing that was always a pain being the marketing guy, especially being so gung-ho on social, was showing that ROI. These are smart guys that run companies making over $50 million a year. You've got to be smart. And so these guys would totally go all in on social if they could see without a shadow of a doubt the return of investment. And in restaurants, I found it was just a pretty hard thing to really quantify. And so I had all these formulas. I'm a math guy, believe it or not. And I had all these different formulas based on things that Yelp was doing and based on other giants out there, how they were calculating ROI.
You definitely put some science to it. It wasn't like, hey, this is just what I feel like doing.
Exactly.
You put some research and some science to it, looked at algorithms, and you found the best way to make the recipe.
Totally. And the thing that was missing, at least what I saw, was, okay, well, I can see all of the data Facebook and Instagram provides us as far as reach goes, clicks, engagements, all that stuff, but we don't see dollar signs coming directly from these posts.
Right.
And that was a thing that up until the end of 2019, I just thought it wasn't going to be possible to solve. And then towards the end of 2019, when I was really kicking automation and building technology into high gear, I realized, oh my God, Facebook Messenger has the ability to count things. That ability alone through their API blew my mind, because I'd not understood there could be more done than just keyword responses, basically.
Right.
But the moment that I realized, oh my God, I can use a QR code. Who in the end of 2019 and beginning of 2022, people were just laughing at Ryan for QR codes because they weren't using them. It wasn't a necessity at that point.
They made a big bounce back. They made a
couple at this point, but it was still almost like a joke until the restaurant and the cafe owners saw the results. So instead of there being just likes and just shares and even just traffic on the website, especially if they're not selling anything, they're not making that direct dollar like they want to see. When they're coming in using their phone to scan a QR code to get a loyalty point in order to get their 10 stamps and get a biscuit or a breakfast muffin or something, this showed the proof. And so what I realized, I was like, oh my God, as much as I owe Zuck quite a bit of money, I feel like, and he's given us all these crazy, awesome tools to use for businesses and ourselves. I was like, man, this is like taking advantage of the system, because I'm not paying for any ads when it's an in-person deal. And so I really focused on trying to take things in the digital world and marry them to the physical world, and then to show proof of concept and proof of sales and proof of ROI. And that's really what the focus has always been, showing the client or ourselves that when we're using it, I use the tool every day. Where's the breakdown? Where's the success? How can we optimize in real numbers with dollars and cents?
Ryan, do you feel that kind of parking it real quick to social media, you feel like some businesses or business owners just saw social media as let me post and see if I get some likes. But it sounds like what you're saying is like, hey, you have people there. This is a gold mine. You can actually find a way to scale not only your social media, but also the experience and gain revenue from using automated chat, right?
Exactly. It blew my mind how extensive Facebook's API capabilities really were, as someone who in the past had only focused on great content and great community management, no automation, no nothing. And matter of fact, to point that out, that's how I got hip to you, is seeing your badass content. That's the truth. Seeing the videos, I'm like, who's this guy out of Charleston? This is years ago at this point. I've been following you for a long time, as you know. And I was like, who's this person in Charleston knowing how to do videos like that? Oh my God, this is a real agency. That the content is always king. I'm a firm believer content is king, but I felt like I was a few steps ahead when I realized, oh my God, we can really drive physical traffic, not just traffic to the website or to the post or to the page or to the account. We can bring them here and validate that. And so with Facebook, and I'll kind of stop talking so technical maybe, but with Facebook, their API, they can push and pull information as you wish as a developer. And so the proof of the pudding, that was just undeniable. Anytime I was getting someone to go to a physical location and scan or tap NFC, or they're going to comment on a social media post, I'm able to funnel them and their information that the client needs, like birthday information in case you're running a birthday campaign, get your free thing on your birthday automatically off of a Facebook post. Having that information in a database, in a CRM, plus sending it to Google Sheets, because maybe that's just the easiest way for the client to see things are working. It has been mind-blowing to see.
You just said something now. I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, to hit me.
Here's what I want people to hear what you just said. They can get that information and take it to Google Sheets. Pause right there and tell me about how that works, Ryan, because that is almost liquid gold, and I don't think people really understand that. Explain that for me.
Totally. And to give you an idea of scale, less than 100,000 people in the world of Facebook or digital marketing are understanding how to utilize this correctly. So it's still Wild West on steroids right now. But basically, anything that you can ask, typing out a question to in Messenger, hey, what's your email? What's your favorite steak? And what's your favorite wine? Can we send you deals? If you can type that out, you can also automate that with different systems, and Tap the Table is one of them. And with the answers that you're looking for through a series of questions, you can take that information and do things with it. So what I mean by that is when someone says, when a brand page says, hey, to get the deal, to get the 10% off, type your email or tap it below. Facebook will actually understand the brand page is looking for that email address or phone number and populate that for the Facebook or Instagram user, so they can just tap and continue. And if you give me that email, for example, in Facebook Messenger, automatically while I'm sleeping or doing work, where the clients are, the information is being saved in the CRM, maybe sent to Google Sheets, and then triggered an auto email that's like, hey, thanks for the email. Here's your $5 off. And that email, which email is still very important, we specialize in that email is brought to the place, shown, and then it's tracked again in that same Google Sheet. So we can actually get down to which posts were most profitable. And that's where I think Social 3.0 is.
Wow, man, Ryan. Okay, you're blowing our minds here.
Oh, you know all this stuff.
I know.
You're a poker player. This is a funnel master.
I know this, but then there's some intricacies that come with Tap the Table that still I don't even understand yet. And I think when the majority, I would probably say the majority of businesses out there, they have no idea what to do with their social media. Exactly. They think that here's what they think. Let me get a person and have them post for me.
That's exactly what they think.
They think, let me, get a person and have them post for me. Then they don't realize the amount of time. Like, let's just say our social media team, it takes time to be able to come up with content that can be engaging for people. You also have to go engage with other pages, and people don't see that. So you're helping people see the value back into social. And then what your platform is doing is allowing them to make revenue. So if you want to gain revenue, utilize Tap the Table. If you want to mine your customers, really and truly mine your business,
right? Tap
the Table is what it sounds like, right? And I don't want people to say like, oh, he's endorsing Tap the Table or whatever it is. But if something works, it works. If Google works, we're going to say Google works. So why can't I say Tap the Table works?
Right? So you're exactly right. And while an API is just the gateway for any developer to have any tool out there for anyone to use, we do think we've got something special because of the way we started. We started with such a real problem in 2022 because, matter of fact, and I believe it was April or maybe May, I was so nervous about the way the economy was moving and the way that things were being locked down. I was forced to give away what I've created for free for a little while, really to get exposure. And luckily I got on the news a couple times, and that really set some things off. But I was having to give the idea away because it was so hard and difficult to comprehend that you're not getting an email from this Facebook post. What are you getting out of that? And so then I understood, okay, great. What's happening here is exactly what you're saying. People are understanding, oh, crap. Wow. Social media is important. This is what we need to be focused on, but I don't really want to invest all this money and time and energy if I don't know exactly what it's doing. So I'm going to sacrifice, and I'm going to hire my neighbor's daughter or neighbor's son to do this for me while they're in college. And I'm going to cross those T's and dot those I's. But the problem is there's multiple problems. Number one, the checkbox move of, yeah, we posted today. We posted 5 times this week. This does nothing. And what I found is there's no intent. And so what I'll say here, shut up for a minute, is I always start with this question going forward with any client I work with. When you're on social media and you want us to publish for you, or you're publishing on social, what is the goal behind what you've done? Mm-hmm. Why are you doing that? And most of the time it's during the headlights responses.
They don't know. Yeah.
My neighbor's doing it,
Yeah. So now let me ask you this then, because when a lot of people hear about Facebook, they always go back to 2016 election and, privacy issues. So let's talk about privacy now. So is Facebook secure, and is Tap the Table secure? Tell me about how important privacy is to this platform and to you.
So I think that if as many problems as big companies like a Facebook or a Meta can have and do have, they're still providing such a valuable and entrusted service that people are logging into their Facebook 100 times a day, man, or Instagram or whatever it is. And so what's so funny to me is when I see these folks, especially after something negative happens with Meta or Facebook, whatever you want to call them, they'll say, "Oh, Facebook sucks. I'm ending Facebook. I'm getting off Facebook now." These are the posts that you see. And I'm like, okay, I've been seeing this for 10 years, and then they don't. Or if they do, they come back. It's really an interesting thing to see as someone that's essentially a non-social media user for personal fun at this point. I'm doing it all for work. I don't use it in the same way as the regular user does. And so I just see all these things a little bit differently, and they've created such trust. If people didn't trust Facebook really, they would uninstall it and they would get rid of it and you wouldn't come back. But at the end of the day, the investment's been made there by these individuals, and now the demographic is getting older with more money. It's just more important, in my opinion. They just trust it. They're on their phone all day. They trust it, and because of that, and because of the data that I've seen, we've got something like a 98% success rate when we're asking for an email or a phone number through Messenger or Instagram, which originally I would have never bet that. When I first did this for the first time in 2018, understood that information could be collected like that because of Kelly Noble. She showed us in the video. She's awesome, by the way, Bot Queen. When I realized, oh my God, this is the way of the future, they're populating things to build that trusted messenger. You're on Messenger as you talking to the brand you like, and they're saying, hey, here's the phone number. Just tap it. We already know it because you sign in with it. And if we don't tap it, the brand, me, the marketer, we don't get that phone number. We don't get that email.
Are people,
they must give it to us.
Do you feel like people are more comfortable messaging now than even talking to human?
1,000%. Man, I think I may have told you about my Lowe's story recently, and I won't get into that, but customer service, which I've always been the biggest community management person, the biggest personalization, people reaching out. I've always lived under this camp that this was so important. It's gone downhill so much, in my opinion. At this point, I would rather talk to any automated system, even if it's on the freaking phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so rough these days to find good customer service people. And so at this point, I'd rather, as a brand and a marketer, teaching or talking to brands, if you can't find those rockstar employees, make one rockstar all-star automation and at least have the brand consistency there.
Man. So now, Ryan, we talked about the restaurants and how you utilize, the software Tap the Table for it. And now, can it work in other industries? And tell me other industries where, don't be, partner or client specific, but tell me some other industries where you've also seen some success and how it can work. Because, whenever someone logs on a Tap the Table, the first thing they see is eateries. They don't know that it can expand beyond that, and it grew from there. So tell me about how it can work in other industries.
Totally. So while the dashboard itself is still really geared towards restaurants and a little bit of retail, making those sales, we've got a product and order section built right in. So within 5 minutes, the idea is you can immediately start selling your stuff, retail or food, through any channel on social media within 5 minutes. Just upload your stuff and you're good to go. That was the idea. But what we saw was, as more people we're implementing the QR codes in their to-goes. And as more restaurants were opening up to having people sit down again, like the old days, where they could just sit down and eat, the QR codes that were left on the table, intentionally, obviously, were being used by other folks in other industries, the customers. And the biggest industry that jumped out in my local area, Beaufort County and Savannah area, has been real estate. And these realtors, they'd come into lunch, they would scan the code, and then they'd realize, oh, this isn't just a PDF, or this isn't just a web page. This is an interactive thing. What is it? Oh, this is Messenger. Or, oh, this is a web chat. What is this? I could just say, I want chicken fingers, and there it is. And so then I was getting questions through the Messenger. How did you do this? Who made this for you? You know, and me as the manager of those clients in these cases, I could see those messages, and they eventually would find out, the ones that really cared. And it was a good connection. So in real estate, it's also worked extremely well, where they're not selling houses generally on Facebook or in Instagram. We're still able to get qualifying information. So a recent example is we're asking people that are looking for mortgage rates a specific series of questions like, how much money do you have for your down payment? What insurance percentage do you expect to pay monthly on your mortgage?
You're qualifying people to make sure they're good leads. Got it.
Exactly. And the smartest mortgage broker in my area, he saw this through another client, as well as an entertainment / bar, I guess, a restaurant and bar. He found me, and this guy wasn't going to go to sleep without having automation for his business. And now Benji Getsy, he's a good friend of mine and partner now in another thing we've got going on. He's going to be the king of funnels, man, in his space. And he just understands this is the goal of social. So they got us addicted to like being able to generate noise and awareness and eyeballs. Yeah. I really believe their next step is, and we're kind of seeing it with all this centralization within the other platforms or other channels. I think that they're going to really push businesses to say, hey, you see, we got you the crowd. You see, we got you the eyeballs, the inbox. That's your money box. Get those customers in there in a one-on-one scenario, sell them whatever you want. That's what I think is happening.
So no, Ryan, now, in order to be able to, it's not like the Field of Dreams, like just because you have it there, it's going to come. You have to be able to put out some good content or either run some ads to be able to get people to your page, because just because you have it on your page, it doesn't mean I'm coming, right?
Or the foot traffic. You nailed it. The foot traffic, where you can have that physical interaction with that NFC device or QR code, is the same funnel as someone that could be engaging online. Now, we as the funnel builders know that and aware of that and can provide different journeys. But if you're in, this is the coolest thing. And I think there's going to be some businesses that master this concept. We can either rely on consistently great content, which we should do anyways, right? We can rely on that plus the gas money, which is the ad dollars, the Facebook ad money and Instagram ad money. We can rely on that and pay Zuck forever for every person that we get. Or we could take advantage of what we can take advantage of. In this case, and where you've got one of the coolest offices in our whole area. And I always think about this stuff, but I wanted to immediately have some kind of QR code guest book, so that when someone could walk into your place or leave, they tap that thing and they're in the funnel. And that funnel, this allows you to send them a message for a Google review, get them to like your Facebook page or whatever it needs to be. Every single time. You didn't pay for that lead. You didn't have to necessarily come up with or lead or follower or whatever. You didn't have to take time out of your day to create content to get that person, because they were already there. Yeah,
man. Ryan, it's endless on what you can create with it. So do you find like it's constantly evolving, like like your capabilities on what you can do, what you can come up with, that they're evolving for you?
So what we started out with, again, was we wanted to sell food and retail on any channel, which really was Facebook and Instagram, were the two biggest ones in our eyes, as they still are. But conversational design and AI is only getting bigger, and it'll only be more important. And we can see this. And here's two recent examples. Number one, Google now has their own messaging product that's available on mobile devices. Now, if you look at a Google business listing on your mobile device,
you can send a message.
Exactly. You have that. And that's also any funnel that you have built for Facebook or Instagram immediately works with Google if you'd like it to. And so we talk with Google every week, and those guys are always, every week they send an email with the updates that they do. It's much different than the Facebook camp. I love the way Google is treating the developer community, and how they're updating us and how they're making their tool just that much more valuable. And so when you see that, plus the brand new ability with Instagram's API of, for example, forcing a follow. So here's the example that we're going to see. People will have content. They'll want people to comment on this content. When that comment occurs, that you've seen that this is the magic sauce, that message is sent via DM, but before they can get to the next step, and we can't do this with Messenger, before they get to the next step, we might have a button that says, before you get the 5% off, please be sure you're following our page. If you're following our page, hit continue.
Oh, so you're helping it grow too.
Exactly. So when it hits continue, the API can check, is this user following this page? Yes or no? And if no, sorry, please go back and follow our page. Or boom, thanks for following our page. Here's your 5% off. Here's the thing.
So Ryan, now we talked about Meta, Meta kind of is the umbrella for all of them, and then Facebook. So now, does your platform have different capabilities for either Facebook and Instagram? Because, some of them you can do, like for Instagram, you can't just type words. You have to put something up, either a video or an image or something. And like with Facebook, you can. So what are the capabilities different within they're on each platform?
Great question. And the answer is, right now, in my opinion, Facebook Messenger is the most feature-rich, robust messaging platform that there is on the planet because of what their API allows. The other APIs are just not there. To give you the comparison between Google and Messenger and Instagram in one scenario, Messenger is the only channel that can send out a native video or a Facebook embedded video through a funnel. So if you got all your awesome videos on your page, that URL there, that can be sent in Messenger, but instead of it being a URL, it's the actual embedded video inside of the Messenger.
From YouTube.
Exactly, except it's like it's the native deal there. There's no uploading. You're using the same deal. It's just a feature that they've built to make things easy. And so basically what we did, here's a secret. We looked at every available permission and option that there was in the APIs of all the channels. Facebook has the most. Instagram is probably the one that people are most excited for because they think that's where all the cool kids are. And there's a lot of cool kids there. I just look at them as they're all in one, truthfully. But Instagram, while they are much newer, the capability to automate things and take information and all that stuff has only been available for about a year. They're constantly as well updating the channel, and they're spending a lot of time and money and energy and resources, Meta, to make these things better. So for example, on Facebook Messenger, when you're installed, you've got that little hamburger menu button on the bottom right. That's the what's called a persistent menu. Instagram has never had one. They've released last week or the week before the ability to have that, and it was in a different place. It's up top instead of the bottom of the screen, which I thought was a little awkward. But the point is, if they're spending time to release new features for developers to develop, this is where the future is. Because if it wasn't, they wouldn't be spending the time to create new things.
So does Tap the Table work with other social silos besides Facebook and Instagram, or what's the goal for growth as far, because you got Twitter out there, and you have like TikTok. So what's the plan for growth for that? Or do you plan to include those into Tap the Table?
So we are limited fully by what the channels offer. As far as APIs go, and we don't do any black hat stuff, minus the black hat you see on my head here. So everything I do is by the book, and so we're only able to do what the platforms allow us to do. So in your case, of your examples, Twitter does not allow for DM or comment automation. That's legal, I guess you'd call it. And the same kind of goes for Google. They don't have that ability to have a comment, for example, on one of their Google business posts, to do anything with that yet. Although I've got some pretty sneaking suspicions that you're going to start seeing people do Google reviews through Messenger. That's what I believe. They won't confirm or deny, but essentially, I think that businesses would like to get additional information out of instead of just those 5 stars in a paragraph or a sentence. And so I've seen it in an industry I'll tell you about offline. I could tell you where the link is. I can't do that publicly. I won't do that. But I saw how from an email, they're going to a series of like 2 or 3 questions. And then based on what I've inputted, they're either showing the Google review page for me to leave a review or not, which is a really interesting. You might already know all about it too, but I think they're going to transition that probably into their messaging ecosystem since they're just, putting so much time into it. But the truth is our web chat URL can work on any channel right now, as at least if someone clicks on it. And we can solve pretty much anything that we want to solve without, overlooking the limitations that are provided to us, if that makes sense. So as we've got WhatsApp too, Telegram, RCS, which is.
So you can also do WhatsApp.
Yep, totally. All Facebook are all Meta owned channels. In addition to our own channel, Telegram, that was a popular one for a while. It's a popular one outside of the United States too, Telegram. But any channel that's going to give us the ability to do what we want to do and not make it so difficult, and the users want what, we'll implement that.
Ryan, where do you see Tap the Table in the next 3 years?
I see Tap the Table becoming something more of like just tap, to be honest with you, because again, with the success, the initial success I've been lucky enough to see, and now with partnering up with Benji Getsy from Beaufort Lending, this guy's he's the Gary V of mortgage brokers, and he's got a little money too, and he sees the sign more so than almost anyone I've spoken with in 2.5 years. That's not in the tech space or marketing space specifically. As a veteran mortgage broker, this guy saw, holy cow, not only do I need this, am I going to have this before I go to sleep tonight, or I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to figure out a way that I can get my hands on this at scale. And the guy's so smart for seeing that. And that's what I always hoped would happen, because I've got my own issues as far as I'm not leaving South Carolina. I'm not going to California. I'm not going to these Silicon Valley places. So I missed some opportunities here. This guy's totally filled in a lot of these gaps, and he's going to be a great, great partner.
That's awesome, man. That's just so awesome, man. Ryan, I'm happy to hear about a lot of that success that you guys over at Tap the Table have, man.
And we're glad that you're a user too, man. So I think I can't wait to see you just take over everything, and I'll help you do whatever I can.
It's really magical to kind of hear you can navigate this stuff with your eyes closed, and that's amazing to me, because not every developer can do that, It's almost like, man, whatever song you write, man, you don't forget the lyrics on that stuff, man. Not at all. So, I mean, you've had the influx of mortgage people coming in. We talked about the safety and the security of Tap the Table and what it can offer. Let me ask you let me go to a marketing end of things. Where do you see, besides even Tap the Table, where do you see social media going within the next 24 months, 2 years?
Totally. I think that because, and this is my space. So like when it comes to things like games and stuff that Facebook or Meta offers and some of these other channels and such, I'm not as versed. But what I see all day is along the lines of AI and automation. And because I'm seeing the new features being developed, and because I've seen the look on the clients' faces when they see their phones just like pinging off all this time, I think that we're going to be moving into results-driven performance metrics far greater than what we currently have. And I agree. I think those two things that are the simplest and most powerful and most beneficial is going to be growing that email list. So when I look at your kind of content that you guys do for social, it's just so epically good. And it's getting, when you guys are doing a campaign, you're getting all the things that you want on your checklist. It's the reach, the comments, the engagement. You guys are really setting the standard there. And I think that you've already got the secret sauce of understanding it, that whatever we're gonna be looked at in different lenses as marketing folks going forward, when it's like, well, this company, Eric's company, is awesome with videos, and then this company out in Texas who we're also looking at, they're awesome with videos. But the difference is, and I think this is going to be the difference, these guys on this side, they're implementing automation. So their videos are looking great, accomplishing brand, and they're also growing our list, meeting our customers. That's who we're going with versus the ones that are not offering that don't understand that are not there yet. That's what I believe. They're going to want tangible results, and it might not be a cash sale like a restaurant or retail store would be. But whenever we're going through mortgage brokers and we're asking them their income or credit score or things like this, when they're giving that information, I don't know of a better way to qualify people.
Man, I want to thank you, man, for the shout out on the creative stuff, and I got to give a huge shout out to the team at Craft Creative, Paul, Andrew, Terry, those guys, and they put in a lot of work, and also Pete as well too on video content. And so
especially the lawyer stuff, you guys are going to start to butt in, but the attorney lawyer stuff that I've seen from the past and recently, my God, and hey, man, you can't hide money. Those lenses cost.
Man, yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's something that we're proud of too. And then I think
you should be.
What we try and do on the creative end and the marketing end, which is going to lead to this next discussion, is to we talked about, running ads or having good content to bring people to your social channels. And what we feel is going to be, really big in the future is going to be quality content, because, right now you can't get a good idea from a computer. That's about it. And I was on YouTube the other day and I saw something that it was advertising something to read your emails for you. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I did it. I downloaded it, and someone sent me a super long email the other day, and I let this thing just start reading my email while I was focusing on something else. And so I do believe what you're saying about AI and automation. And I think all this AI and automation that's going to happen, I think we have to be ready for it, regardless if we are ready for it or not, or if we're fans of it or not. It's just like technology, If we weren't ready for new technology, then we'd still all have, 30-pound desktop computers, IBM computers from back in the day. But things are being made faster and smarter than ever before.
Yes.
We have these tools from Apple and these tools from Amazon here, like some sitting on our desk now, that actually they are learning us. And I feel like what you guys are creating is that next step into what is happening in the future. Because like nowadays, you can call places, you can call businesses, and you don't get a person on the phone. Try calling Papa John's Pizza, or Pizza Hut right now,
or Domino's too,
or Domino's, and thinking that you're going to get the people on the same road as you. You're not. You're going to get someone in another state, city, or country who's making your pizza for the pizza place that you're calling 3 miles ahead.
You're so right, dude.
People are thinking, they're thinking ahead. And I think what's killing a lot of regional brands or businesses, and even especially the local folks, is that they see every dollar that they spend as a dollar that they're taking away from their business versus as a dollar that they should be investing in their business. You get what I'm saying?
1,000%. I just used that exact answer literally on Tuesday of last week. I was at a client. I said, "Call." They were telling me in the marketing team, we need to really get this stuff right with our phone system. When people are calling, we've got to give them the right information. Whenever we're closed for the day, got to give them the one or the two or the three, the whatever the answers. I said, guys, listen, you guys,
absolutely.
And it's always a risk telling a giant CEO who's paying us a lot of money in my eyes that they're wrong. It is so hard to do that, but it's so necessary. And I'm at the point now. I'm not totally to your OG level yet, maybe, but I'm getting to the point where I'm not afraid to do that anymore if I really feel that's the wrong direction. So I used exactly your example, and I said, all right, let's call Domino's right now. And you're exactly right. This is also the thing, coming from food, they purposely made that a bad experience on that phone, because in 3 minutes, like, they're telling you, go online, order online, and get the deal if you go online. All right, now here's a person's coming, and they're not even at your location.
Yeah,
you're totally right. And so they're doing that on purpose.
That person has the ability to make or break that sale for you.
They have more times than not, they're failing, I think, now at this point.
Exactly. They have the ability to make or break the sale. We called up a pizza place here. Starts with an M. I'm not going to say the name of it, but it starts with an M, and they're a big chain. And they said, we're not doing deliveries today. We were like, well, what are you talking about?
What are you doing?
What do you mean? And it was just, and they were pretty dysfunctional on the inside. And it was like, okay, well, how about we do a pickup? You can pick up in about 2 hours. We're like, are you that busy? And it was just, it was that the local store had no idea. But when I went to drive there, on my way to the grocery store, and I stopped in. They were like, they had no idea. They had no clue. There's a disconnection between the technology and the local store.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did was they were ruining the experience.
Ruining it. Yes.
They were ruining the experience because, the way I am seeing like Tap the Table right now is that you have the ability to control the relationship and the experience between your business and your customer.
You said something important there with the control over the experience, man.
Yeah, you totally do, because people want things fast. If I message you, I want to know that somebody hears me. Everyone wants to be heard. And if they're not heard, they grow impatient. Remember, one minute to us is 5 minutes to the person on the other end of the line. It totally is. And I think what you've created is something that not only revolutionize Messenger or chat, it's a business experience, man.
I appreciate that, man.
It's a total business experience change.
I appreciate that. You hit on something that's probably the biggest pushback that I hear from people that don't know. They don't know yet, and because everyone's going to have to deal with this, and it's smart to embrace it. They say, "Well, I don't want my brand to sound robotic." Well, don't provide a robotic experience is the answer. Okay, if you know what I'm saying? Like, This is the most common thing. Well, I want a real human. Well, do you? When I went to Lowe's to buy the available dishwasher online that told me the aisle that it was in at my local store with the money in hand, with the thing, the serial number there on their website, the guy's telling me on Sunday, you got to come back Friday. And I said, it's right there. I've got my own truck, buddy. What do you mean? This person was paid to make a transaction happen. He was paid that day to make it not happen. But Ryan, before he left, did get the thing I went for because it was Sunday. But this is the thing that really I went over the edge when this experience happened to me. You're paid to sell me this thing that I've made so easy that you just had to say, okay, swipe, go get it. That's all he had to say. But instead, come back Friday. This is not a cheap purchase, man. I couldn't believe it. And so when I left, the customer service, I was right there. I could have just kept going home or tried. I showed the customer service lady who, bless her heart, she was fine dealing with me. I said, what happens if I press buy right now? It's right over there. If I buy it right now, what y'all gonna tell me? Because I was just told come back on Friday and that's Sunday, and the lady didn't know what to say. And I just connected the dots here. And I said, if this is Lowe's, this is happening to me, and this is on Sunday morning when they got plenty of people there. This is happening. This is not just the only place it's happening. People have got to automate things because it's going to cost them money, and it's going to cost them so much customer frustration that it's just a lose-lose at this point.
Wow, you can control the experience with automation. Isn't that something? You heard it here first. Ryan, man, you and I, man, we can go on and on all day about automation, marketing, and everything else. Ryan, let me ask you, what's your favorite social platform?
Man, I tell you, I think if I've got to say it, and I'm going to get laughed at, I think it's going to have to be Facebook. Facebook's been a big part of my adult life for the most part. My freshman year in college, I was one of those kids. I don't know if I want that. I don't know if I want Facebook or not. I was still on the MySpace train, dude. People don't even know what MySpace is anymore, but I thought that was a cool one.
We're showing our age, Ryan. We're showing our age.
I know. I was so wrong on that one, man. I thought, man, MySpace is way cooler than Facebook, but I really like Facebook. I don't like all the things that have to do with the company, obviously, but as a user, I'm able to get so much information and entertainment in one place and understand also what's going on. It's why I've not watched the local news. No offense, Riley, except for when you're on there. I don't watch the local news or have cable because I don't need any of that stuff. And I can get all things I pretty much need, plus a consensus of my peers through my feed that can validate or invalidate things that are going on, or at least in my head. It's just it's a cool ecosystem what they've built, and there's a reason that there's so many people's faces looking at their phone on Facebook. Man, it's a powerful tool.
Man, how do you feel about broadcast media now, television?
I think that up until my first year of really just all in automation, I was like, oh, this is a dead industry. This sucks. This is not going to do anything. This is so old school. But I feel like with even a simple QR code or text blankety blank to number whatever. My wife wore your shirt last night to bed, the text my number shirt you gave me. I was like, that's Eric's shirt. I was going to wear that tomorrow. But I thought that was really cool, by the way.
Man,
I think that the out-of-home experience in conjunction with a digital entry point is going to prove effectiveness or not. So when someone's on their radio and it says text, rate to get your mortgage rate to 843, or they scan a QR code that's on a TV commercial, and then they can now validate things just like we had mentioned on social, really looking at tangible metrics, what happened.
Results.
I think instead of just trusting what's just being said by those large companies that say, well, we're in 75,000 homes or 1 million homes had the chance to see this. Well,
right.
How many visits did I get from your website link code or like short code or whatever? That's where I think things are going. I think there's a big chance, to be honest with you, with print and the traditional broadcasting in general. They've got a big opportunity, but they've got to get off the high horse they've got and understand what digital is the way. We can still be relevant, but we've got to also play in this ecosystem and play smartly.
How do you feel about email marketing?
So number one revenue generator right now still. It's the most important thing you can do right now in marketing, in my opinion, to build that list. If you don't have that customer database, if you don't have an email list and all social media goes away tomorrow like it did in Russia, what are you going to do? How are you going to communicate? You can't rely on a feed. You can't rely on ads forever. You've got to have that customer database. And that's the reason why you see the largest companies in the world have the biggest databases.
How do you feel about running ads on social?
It's required. This is gas money. This is the thing I think that's what most people in business are behind the curve on. If I'm not running ads on my social, it's because I'm too busy to take on anything. I don't want to take anything else on. That would be the only reason that I don't run ads, because they're so effective.
I agree.
People are posting without gas money when they just want to be out there to be seen, just to be there, and they're not expecting to get anything. And the people that are posting without gas money because they don't know any better never, ever, ever, ever see decent results, because it's not possible. It's so rare to have a viral clip. And I've seen a viral clip with 15, 20 million views this year, and it still wouldn't be as effective as a $300 ad spend.
I agree with you. I think a lot of businesses, they want every post that they have to go viral. We had one partner where we had to kind of tell them, they're like, well, this post doesn't do it for me. No one's going to pay attention to it. Well, guess what? Facebook doesn't want anyone to pay attention to it. They want you to spend some money to push it.
Exactly.
And that's how everyone's looking for that viral post. And then, if you get that viral post, you don't know how to invest towards that. You don't know the value of that is. It's just, I know some businesses that would spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars still into a traditional space, but they are uncomfortable with spending that into something that's trackable.
Exactly. And it's so fun. When they start to see the result, though, then it becomes a different comment. I'm seeing it now currently all the time. People are like, man, I got to stop putting money over here. Let's put more here. What you guys make over there when you guys are doing social, you're not making posts that are Hyundais or Hondas. No offense to either brand. My wife drives a Honda. But you're not making those. You're making Ferraris of a post. But the problem will always be, even if Steven Spielberg himself with every major director and Hollywood actor, that they filmed something on a brand new Facebook page or brand new Instagram page and they put it out there, that reach is going to be so low. Okay, if it's a brand new Instagram page, even with these celebrity star studded statuses, even with their reach, so low. If they put a little bit of gas money behind that deal, whether it's a production with 100 people involved or a selfie, that gas money goes down the road. That the Honda could potentially outperform a Ferrari, although that should never be the case, because Ferrari owners don't buy Ferraris that can't afford gas money, or they shouldn't.
There you go.
The gas money is key. And so when you've got the right gas money, the right vehicle, it's hard to lose. This is what I believe. It's hard to not achieve your goal. And so you guys are doing it right. And I'm speaking to you, but for those listening, that's the number one thing that you could do right now. Even if your posts suck, putting money behind it in the right way, and that's key, can still make a difference.
I think that's key. I think that's great. And I believe everything that you're saying. And I'll kind of end off with saying, invest in your brand. Whoever
That's
you
it.
are, listeners, invest in your brand, because truthfully, the people, even you brought up Ferraris, people who actually are buying Ferraris, they've been marketed to since they were 5. And so since they were 5, they say, you know what, I want a Ferrari one day when I grow up. And when they get to be that age and they have those resources, they get to a Ferrari. Like Lamborghini, even the Lamborghini said, we're not on TV because the people who are buying our vehicles, they're not sitting there watching TV. They're making things happen, you know?
Exactly.
So,
it's a good point. All
Ryan,
good points. It's so much fun with you, man. I never want to stop.
Man. I want you to go ahead and give people that Instagram address, give people that website address. I want people to know exactly how they can find you, man. So go ahead and give out your numbers, man.
Yeah, hopefully I'm not hard to find, but it's at Ryan Baggott on Facebook and Instagram, and my business that you can follow is tapthetable.io. And again, don't be afraid when you see all the restaurants and hamburgers and customers there, because no matter what your business is, between myself and Elliot and some other folks out there, we can help you achieve your goal at scale automatically while you sleep or play golf.
Man, that's awesome, man. So I also want to tell all of those who are maybe watching or listening, I want to thank them for giving us their most valuable asset, which is their time. It's the one thing we can never buy back. So I want to thank them for giving it to us. And I want to tell you guys, please give us a 5-star review. This is the AdCast. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.